Yes, Melanie, I do. Thank you for trying to get me to remember. But yes, I remember you. How are you today?
Oh, okay. How are you?
I'm all right. What can I help you with?
I'm just calling. I'm trying to figure out. I'm not sure what kind of happened with the case, and you said to call if anything kind of came up or found out any more information.
Mm-hmm.
Brandon and I have a mediation agreement on 50-50, and he was supposed to drop the kids off at school today and drop my daughter off, and he hasn't taken them to school, and he said he has the kids and they're safe, but he's refusing to go with the agreement. And I found some things out about his family, just that they're been into drugs. They're kind of some of the same things I told you that he had been into. I'm just kind of worried about them. I don't want to make a big fuss about all this. I don't want to call the cops and make everything a big drama ordeal. I just worried about him and worried about the kids, and I feel like something's off.
Okay.
So I'm not sure if you've kind of heard back on anything, and if kind of what you're thinking. But
well, we're waiting. We're still waiting back on some of the legal processes we've sent out, and we're gathering some evidence to identify a few things that are just not adding up. As far as the custodial arrangement goes between you and Brandon, is there? You said there's court paperwork, the mediation that you guys had?
Yeah. So per our agreement, he was supposed to drop the kids off at school this morning, and then our daughter this morning, and he just said, "I'm not coming."
Okay.
And he's not taking the kids to school, so I'm just worried something might be up with him, and I don't want to make a big fuss about anything, but I'm trying to just hold to our agreement that we've set in place. So
okay, I can reach out to him and see if he has further information about that, about the custody and why he's not taking the kids to school. Is there anything? Has there anything developed between you or anything that you know of as far as him and the kids, or anything that would make him so he doesn't take the kids to school?
Well, I found out a lot of stuff about his family, just that they're not into some good things. And I had mentioned to him, I said, I think I want to I want to maybe move. It's hard to be in the same state with him and all this stuff going on. Like, I just don't want to be involved with whatever he's into. Mm-hmm. Feels like, and I don't want to, like, I can't take the kids out of state. So I just said, hey, I think I'm going to move. We need to come up with a decision and, a different agreement for the kids. And maybe, they stay here in school with you, or maybe I take them and we start new schools, but let's, we can go to mediation again, or if we can come to a mutual agreement. And so, I just said, we'll talk, I might move next week. I don't know, I just want to figure out. All this drama is just kind of ridiculous. I just want to get to a point where we can kind of have, a clean break from each other and have just, a normal life again. So, he'd been traveling to Vegas several days this summer for work while I had full custody of the kids, and found out his family there has been into drugs and drug dealing and tons of stuff. And so I'm just trying to figure out a way to have the kids safe and away from this stuff, but not, I don't want to take them away from him. Mm-hmm. They left their dad. I just want to make sure he's safe and not into stuff that,
well, I can tell you the conversations and communications I've had with him since the incident, there hasn't been any signs of influence, drugs or alcohol even.
Okay.
And I've been in pretty consistent contact with him since the attempted homicide. Like I said, there are other legal avenues going about, and I can assure you, at least the last time I spoke with Brandon, which was this morning, the kids were okay.
Okay.
I don't know what his long game is as far as custody or anything. That's going to be something you guys are going to have to handle through the civil courts and your mediation and through the divorce. From what I understand, the divorce isn't complete yet either. so I'm combing through a lot of legal documents and electronic data. So that all being said, I don't know what his intentions are. Why he's not taking his kids to school, that's going to be something you're going to have to communicate with him directly. But if you both are concerned about the welfare of your children, that's something you're going to have to present to a court and come to some sort of agreement.
Okay.
As far as since our last conversation, has anything come to light, or have you noticed anything else that could be helpful to this investigation to identify potential leads?
I found out where he's traveled to. He was in Oregon the other weekend. I think he has somebody lined up that he's been dating for a while who thinks he's been divorced a year. Mm-hmm. His Square receipts came to my email, and he told me he was moving that weekend. And so there's just been a lot of extra traveling going on. And I know he was in Vegas and hanging out with a cousin who's into drugs and alcohol. And so I don't really know what's truth and what's not, because I've been told different things by him. So as far as that, I've just kind of found out stuff about his family and him traveling.
When you say found out stuff about family, what did you find out about his family?
That his uncle in Vegas there is dealing with drugs, and also his son who was living with Brandon for a time. So Brandon's cousin was living with him and into drugs and some not other good things. And I don't want to start.
When you say drugs, what kind of drugs?
All sorts. Ecstasy. I'm not great with drug names. I'm not.
Fair enough. When you say other stuff, what other things are they doing?
I think there's been like some abuse going on in his family. Mm-hmm. That's kind of been hidden and under the radar. There's just been a lot of stuff that they don't talk about that's come to light recently. So,
go ahead.
Sorry, I was just going to say that it kind of, all these behaviors and things I've noticed with Brandon, like I think there was like some trauma or something that he was associated with that kind of add up to all these things. And so
what was his uncle's name that lived in Vegas?
Chris Boudreaux, I believe.
And then what about his cousin's name?
Cousin's name is Chance. It's Chants.
Chancs?
TS, so T as in tiger, like Chance. Kind of spelled weird.
That is also
and that's both Boudreaux.
Okay. And so you believe that those ones are involved in some sort of illegal dealings and some sort of drug activity?
Yeah, I know Brandon's been close with them and traveling and stuff, and so I don't want to get anybody in trouble. I just want to make sure my kids are safe.
No, absolutely. And again, when it comes down to what I'm investigating, it's an attempted homicide. Somebody tried to kill Brandon, and I don't know if it's somebody from family, if it's somebody from friends, if it's somebody from business.
Right.
And like I said, we're combing through a lot of information and everything, so there's been a lot of suspicious
and that's why
happenings.
That's why I say all this. I just want to make sure I don't want anything to happen to my kid's dad, and I just want all this to kind of blow over, if that's even possible. So,
I would like that too, but I don't think it will. At least not now that we're involved. So, you said you may be moving. When are you going to be moving?
I don't have plans in stone. I kind of brought that up to him because I just don't feel it's hard being here. Like, I've been constantly bullied and manipulated by him, and it just keeps going on, and I just don't know how to live here and kind of find happiness with all this going on. So I don't have, like, a lot of family here, and I kind of just threw that out there, like, can we come up to some sort of new arrangement so that we can, you know, kind of both move on. I know he wants to move on. He's already been dating this girl and wants to be remarried. So, and like you said, like, strangely, our divorce is not final yet when we started the process in July, so something's going on with mediation and the court not signing off on it. And so,
has it been? Did you put any delay on it, or did you try to cancel anything on it?
No, absolutely not. I contacted our mediator, and she said everything was submitted. I called the court, and the court said, no, we don't have anything on record. We still show that Brandon's petitioned for divorce, and you haven't responded. And I was like, well, I responded in July when we both were in mediation. And then I called the mediator, and she's like, oh, it's the court system. It takes forever. So I don't know on which end. I'm assuming it's our mediator that perhaps didn't. She hasn't been great about staying in contact with us and emailing us. So I don't know what's going on with that. I would love to have that be final, because I've tried. I mean, like I said, I wanted to buy out of all the businesses, anything he's into right now. Like, I don't want to be held liable for anything he's into.
Mm-hmm.
So
it's so that's not done yet. But as far as the move goes, you don't have set dates or.
No, I told him, I said, I want to move next week, and I've been very vague because I don't know yet. I just need to be able, we haven't been able to really communicate without, I try to not communicate, and like, unless we absolutely have to, just because there's been a lot of bullying, and so I just.
And when you say bullying, do you have records of that, or because from what I understand, you guys predominantly communicate via text message.
Yeah, we try to just do text, and so it's most of the time, like, if it's whenever it's in person, which, you know, he'll say all the things in mediation correct, and then as soon as we walk out of mediation, he'll make comments and threats, and so I don't have stuff recorded. I need to be better about that. Mm-hmm. As far as, you know, I've tried to just communicate through text and not call, so we don't have to.
No, that makes sense.
Go that route.
Okay. But you are not, as far as right now, you don't have set plans, but if you needed to move or could move, you could be moving as soon as next week?
Yeah, I mean, right now I'm like, this is not a good time to move. There's something going on. I wanted to just.
Because you've only lived at your place for a short time, right?
Yeah, I've only lived here. We moved in July, so we're renting, and I have a year lease agreement. I don't want to move. I want to stay here. But I feel like I can't, like, with all this stuff going on and the constant, like, threats and bullying from him. So I was like, let's try to come up with an arrangement so we don't have to, like, it's hard to see him every day, and all the things he's saying about me are hard. I know, like, word gets around quick, and he's just said a lot of untrue things, and that's hard.
But who is he saying this to?
He's said it to my family. He's said it to everybody here. Like, we had a lot of mutual friends because he has a ton of people in his companies that he's worked with. Mm-hmm. Some people that have kind of turned their back on him because he's screwed them over in business deals. But a lot of other, just our close friends, people are cautious to come around me. I can't go to the gym without people, like they don't know what's going on. They just think I'm a crazy person. So, which is totally like a narcissistic, like, gaslighting. I confronted him about being gay, and he's super upset about it, and now saying I'm crazy and that whatever he can. And so that just confuses people, and people don't know what to think about that, and so it's hard to be here.
Where would you be going to?
I threw out Boise, Idaho, because it's in the middle of nowhere, and I have a couple friends that live in Seattle area, and some that just moved to Idaho from Seattle, and so I was like, I just want to be somewhere that's just away from all that, like, have just a fresh start, and kind kind of just try to find happiness again. So, I mean, I don't have a plan. I felt frustrated being here, and I wanted to come up with a new agreement so we don't have to see each other all the time.
Okay. Because there are records that come back to Boise, Idaho, that I've obtained so far during this investigation. Does anybody else that you know live out there?
Did you say there's no records?
There are records.
Oh, there are records.
Connected to Boise. That's interesting that you bring that up, because there's some correspondence from there, or at least it appears to be from there, but we're trying to tie that all together still. There's some other areas of this investigation that are involving the federal government, FBI, right now. So is there more that you know?
More that I know.
Melanie, there's information I've been presented with and some evidence that tell me that other people are involved that you may have relations with. And I would like you, if you have more information, I'd like you to be forthcoming early on so I don't find out something later on.
Yeah, well, I've tried to just be, completely honest with everything I have, and the only other thing that, I don't know, I worry about Charles Vallow and what he was into. Mm-hmm. And I think at one point, they had found out in the family he was like on an ISIS hit list or something. And they called and warned him and his wife, my Aunt Lori, and they were like, there's nothing to be alarmed of, but we just need to let you know. So, I don't know.
Who made that phone call?
Who made the phone call? They were notified.
Who notified them? I guess is a better way for me to ask that.
I don't know what department, I guess, if that's what you're asking, that would call them. They just said, oh my gosh, we just found out that he was on a ISIS hit list or something, and they had to notify him, but a lot of people were on this list, I guess, but they legally had to notify him, and so they were kind of like, well, what do we do? And they're like, well, we don't know. And so nothing kind of ever happened with that I know of. That's the questions that come up like that, and it's like, what's going on with Charles? What was he doing? What business? And it concerns me because Brandon was doing business with him.
Okay. So,
as far as my pick with Boise, I feel like I have a lot of family in Utah too, and it's kind of like, and I have family in Seattle, so it's kind of like a middle point of, I've never been to Boise other than driving through, so I was like, maybe, I don't know, I haven't even visited Boise, so.
It's quite the move to go somewhere that you don't.
It's a leap, and when you just feel alone in that, you don't know, my whole world's come crashing down. I was happily married for 10 years, and then finding out my husband's gay, and then him turning around and telling everybody I'm crazy because there's no way he's gay. So, and I've seen him drive a wedge between, he has a lot of anger and vengeance towards my Aunt Lori Vallow, mm-hmm. who he thinks was the one who first outed him on being gay. He thinks she told me and was on to him first about him being gay. And many people and videos and other things came forward about that. It wasn't her. And I'm not upset about him being gay if that's what I told him, I said, if you can just tell me, we'll work through this. We have kids together. Mm-hmm. But he was so adamant, no, I'm not doing any of this, you're crazy. And now all these things, him threatening to get my records removed from my church I go to, just hateful things that I would never do to him for the actions he's done. I just want, if there's any sort of way to move forward from things and just not involve our kids and just let the kids just have a normal life, that's what I want, if there's any way to do that. So,
yeah, and that's going to be something that mediation through the courts, as strenuous as it is, that's really the only correct way to do it with the legal system that we live in.
Right.
And I do agree that it does come.
But I feel better if you're saying you're in contact with him and that the kids are safe. I kind of felt I was upset at first when I found out they weren't at school, because I'm like, what is he up to? You're supposed to drop my daughter off. He's been working directly with the Yule family, who they drive him everywhere now, and just went up to Utah with them over the weekend.
The what family? Maybe so I can have that documented. What family was it?
Yule's, Ewell. His first name is Brandon Yule.
Okay, and how do you know that he was with them?
So every time we meet now, he has them drop them off. He's been chauffeuring him around ever since the thing happened with the car. So
shooting.
Yeah, so I don't know.
Okay, so you've seen him with the Yule family. That's how you know that he's with them or been with them.
Yeah, and the kids said they've been sleeping there at their house. Like, I don't think they've been home. They just sleep at their house. And then they all rented an RV this weekend and went to Utah all together to stay with the Brandon's family up there.
Okay. You said earlier that Brandon, tried to drive a wedge between you and Lori?
Yeah.
Okay. How did he try to do that?
He noticed that we started to, I don't know if you remember, they did a juice truck business in Hawaii together, Charles and Lori, and Brandon tried to get involved, and I didn't feel good about it. I was like, I don't want to do business with family, even if we're going to make a ton. Like, I love my family, and I don't want there ever to be, like, money to get in the way of that. And he insisted on doing it. Charles and Brandon were the two key people on that investment, and they both, it just crumbled to the ground, and then Brandon used that, like, well, your aunt's irresponsible, you shouldn't talk to her, she wasted our money, when she didn't really have anything to do with it. And so that was the first time he started to kind of drive that wedge there. And then anytime family gatherings and stuff, like, he just made it a point, kind of like, pick me or pick her, you know?
Mm-hmm.
And like I said, she was like a mom to me for many years, because she would help with our son and stuff.
Yeah.
Because my mom passed away. So he's tried to say, you know, Laura's crazy, you know, shouldn't talk to her, and she's religious, and just all these things to try to make her sound crazy to me. And then the whole thing that happened with Charles, when Charles went to the house and then was shot by my uncle, he flipped that whole story and said, do you still think I'm gay because they just murdered Charles? And I hadn't heard about it yet, and I freaking read it in the news, and it was a total different story. And then find out later, like, that was the whole plan to try to turn family against each other.
And because of the Chandler incident, I would be interested to talk with either Lori or your uncle.
Yeah, well, I gave you their phone numbers today.
Yeah, I haven't reached out to him yet, but.
Oh, okay.
You still keep contact with them?
Yeah, I try to. Like, it's hard because I know they're living their own lives, and I'm going through this right now. This has been a handful for me, and trying to just figure it out has been...
Yeah, and they've been through a traumatic experience, too. I mean, I get
right.
it. But, have they stayed here, or have they gone somewhere else?
She flew in and visited us for a few days when I got to have the kids, so we got to have some fun with the kids. Lori did.
Mm-hmm.
Alex, as far as I know, he drives trucks, or he doesn't really, I don't think he's here. He did rent a house down in Queen Creek.
Mm-hmm.
He had a lease, I think, on it. So, but
you don't know if he still hangs out there or not?
Yeah, I don't think he does, but I feel like, I don't know, like, I'm closer with Lori and try to, like, she's been sweet. She went through a bunch of the same stuff. Her husband was kind of bullying, narcissistic, same type of stuff, and so she's just been sweet and supportive through having to go through this. So,
and she might help be able to paint a better picture of Brandon as well if I need to talk to her later on.
Yeah, I'm sure she'd be happy to help in any way. Like, she was worried, too, when I told her, like, somebody's trying to shoot at Brandon, and we both are like, well, what about the kids? And so, yeah, anything I can give you that helps.
Yeah, and I, like I said, there probably will be here in the near future. That's why if you do leave out of state, if you could shoot me a call or something, just let me know.
Well, I mean, I don't feel like I should right now with all this going on. Like, I don't want to leave my kids and leave my kids with him, so.
Yeah, and like I said, it's going to come down to a mediation type agreement to actually set something in stone if you do decide to move. I don't know what the situation is right now, but if you were to just up and leave state, I don't know if that would be allowed per your agreement. If it is allowed, then I'm guessing he doesn't want that to happen now that he knows that you want to move. I'm sure that you wouldn't want him to do the same, so it may be worth reaching out and communicating with him to come to a conclusion for that.
Yeah, trying to. Haven't heard back. That's why I was like, I don't know what to do now. So.
Yeah, and you guys predominantly use text message. That's still correct, right? Unless you meet in person.
Yeah.
Okay. We'll reach out, and I can reach out for you as well. I don't want to become a mediator. Let me be clear about that.
Yeah, no, and I don't want to call you and make you be a mediator. I didn't know if this had to do with something that he's into, and so I was like, if you had.
This is the first I've heard of it, of the kid issue. I do know that he's reached out to other entities as he can and as you can, and so maybe that has some involvement to it. I'll let him know that I spoke with you though. And encourage him to reach out to you so you guys can communicate as clear as possible about the kids. And maybe just the kids only, right? I mean, I don't want you guys going into different avenues and creating a text argument that doesn't look good. So,
well, what do you mean you think I should reach out to different entities? Like, what does that mean?
That's up to you. I mean, if you want to seek legal assistance or if you want to seek, help from the courts or things of that nature. I know he's asked me questions similar like what you've asked me as far as kids and mediation and things of that sort. And like I told you, it comes down to the family courts. If you need assistance, that's what they're there for, and you can reach out to them to give you legal assistance if needed.
Okay.
But especially when it comes down to your 4 children, the best way for you guys to keep them as unfazed as possible is to maintain a good communication with each other, you and Brandon. To keep it as clean and clear as possible so the kids have very little involvement or witness to things behind the scenes. So, like I said, I will probably reach out to you later on with some other questions. Do you have anything else for me right now? Questions, comments, concerns?
I don't think I do.
All right. Okay, well, if that changes, or again, if you do decide to go out of town, be it for, a couple weeks or indefinitely, please just let me know so I have a better idea of how to communicate with you and realize, hey, I can't talk to you in person now. I'm going to have to make other arrangements.
Well, as of right now, I don't see myself going next week. I kind of want to make sure everything's okay. And that's fair, so. Okay, well, Melanie, thanks for giving me a call, and we'll be in contact. Okay, thanks so much.
Yep, bye-bye.
Okay, bye.